I'm Eric Hicks. I'm an actor here in Toronto, Ontario. And my whole life, I've dedicated myself to uncovering the truth, or the truth, so to speak, as much as we can know what the truth is. But there's just something about that word truth that the closer you get to it, the vibrations, or something about like aligning with the vibrations of truth, and you just know it's right. Now, my whole psychedelic journey began when I was maybe 23, and I was working with a bartender, and he offered to sell me magic mushrooms. And I had no clue what the heck they were, didn't know how to take doses, didn't look anything up. And so the first couple times I took mushrooms, I took maybe a gram, around a gram, maybe half a gram. I don't even know because I didn't measure. But what happened is I was like on Facebook the first time, I remember, and I was looking up just random people in my friends list, people who I didn't even know that well, and the mushrooms almost sucked me into their lives, and it allowed me to see life through their perspective and showed me how precious and valuable, and it just showed me all aspects of their life, and my heart opened up and I just started bawling. And then I laid down, but a good bawl, a compassionate bawl, where I understood these people on a deeper level. And another person I looked at was actually a childhood friend, Christelle Mukendi, if you're there. You were the second one. And it was just such a beautiful experience. I laid down on the couch and I looked up at the ceiling, and it was all wood beams. And the grooves in the wood started popping out at me and whatnot. And I was like, okay, there's something here. I don't know what this is, but it was a powerful first experience. And the next time I did it, it was at home as well. And it wasn't on technology, but it was just a smaller dose. And I was like, okay, what the heck is up with mushrooms? You know, it has this, I don't know how to put it, my first experiences, but it just had this potential about it. And then as I got older, I remember on my 25th birthday, my roommate and I decided to I got 7 grams of mushrooms, and we made a mushroom tea. And that's a lot of mushrooms, in case you don't know, 3.5 grams each in a tea. And we didn't even finish the tea because we made so much we literally physically couldn't drink it all. So we maybe had 3 grams each. And we had just made a big meal of food beforehand. And the one thing I now know is you don't want to have food in your body when you're tripping on mushrooms. And so, you know, it's my 25th birthday. I want to go to all the happy places in my mind. I'm like, oh, this is going to be the best time ever. And 45 minutes later, as it starts kicking in, my body goes, oh my Lord, I am so freaking high. And I was like, this is not good. And I laid down on the couch. My roommate was laying on the floor. And I closed my eyes, and it just tried taking me somewhere so dark. And it's a darkness that I can't even explain, because it's an inward darkness, like going into the greatest fears in your mind. But it just felt like it was taking me into hell, like my own personal mind hell. And immediately I opened my eyes. I'm like, I do not want to go there. I'm like, this is going to be the worst few hours of my life. Like, this is going to be a terrible trip. And I'm like, I don't feel good. My roommate's like, he had done a bit of drugs before in his life. He had experience. And he's like, go to the bathroom, lean over the toilet, and your body will know what to do. And I'm like, okay. So I go to the bathroom, and I get down over the toilet. And right away, bam, boom, my body just starts purging all this big meal that we ate. And right away, I get out of the bathroom, I'm like, I feel 100 times better. And then not even a minute later, all of a sudden, I'm like, holy, I'm so high right now. And I'm like, oh, it's trying to go somewhere so dark. And I'm like, I'm resisting it. And my roommate goes, I'm just pacing around, and he's lying on the ground still. And he's like, lie down on the couch, close your eyes, and let go of control. And I was like, oh, okay. And so that's what I did. I laid down on the couch, and I closed my eyes. And it started going into that darkness again. And I just said, you know what? I was like, show me what you want to show me. I mean, hit me with your best shot. Just let's do it. Let's go into the darkness. And for the next 2 hours, it just took me through all of these things in my life that I had been ignoring. And it took different parts of my brain, different memories and things, and it interconnected them in the weirdest of ways possible. But it made it in such a way that it was undeniably true what it was revealing to me. And it just put it right there, bam, in the forefront of my mind. It was undeniable. And I cried the entire time. And this was the kind of cry of like, I can't believe these things, these revelations were so obvious the entire time. They were right there in front of me the entire time. And I didn't look inwards to see the truth. I kept blocking it out. And so the mushrooms took me to the truth. But I had to go into the darkness first to get that truth out. And the next few days, I started making phone calls and I started apologizing to people for things I had done and ways I had behaved and just healing these relationships. Because it was so obvious to me, you know, my behaviors and my actions are what had created certain effects in my life and outcomes in my life. And so it took that mushroom experience for me to really grow and learn. Now, from there, I went and I made other videos about this. I did a 10-day silent Vipassana meditation retreat. And to this day, I still say this is the greatest, one of the greatest experiences of my life, because meditation, a 10-day silent meditation, they teach you how to meditate, and it takes 10 days in pure silence to learn how to meditate, to learn this skill. And so the whole point of this is that when you come back into the regular world, you now have this skill set that at the beginning of every day, when I wake up, I stretch, and then I meditate for an hour. And what it does is, as I observe sensations throughout my body without judgment, my mind will be busy. A bunch of thoughts will keep popping in, images and things from the past, or things that happened yesterday, or things that happened a decade ago, or things I saw in the news. They all come flooding in, and I catch those thoughts, and I let them go, and I go back to observing sensations without judgment. And what happens over that hour is my mind starts to quiet down. And for about the last 15 minutes in an hour meditation in the morning, I have this peace about me. And it's the most joyful peace, because it's what Eckhart Tolle talks about in his books, The Power of Now and a New Earth. He talks about being present in this moment right now, because that's all life is, the present moment. Moment to moment to moment to moment to moment, moment by moment. It's always this moment. And so you want to stay out of your head and be in the moment. When you are in the moment, it's so joyful. And so Vipassana meditation gave me this tool that's in my toolbox now. So anytime, you know, if I fall off the meditation track for a while, and I'm going about my business, going about my day, my mind is going to get busier and busier the longer I go without meditating. And directly correlated to that is my life gets more complicated. My decision making becomes poor. And my life gets clouded. And usually what happens is I'll stop meditating for a while, and my life gets clouded. And then I'm like, what have I been missing? What have I been neglecting? I'm like, meditation. And so I come back to meditation. And I start my day off with a clear mind. And all of a sudden, everything gets better again. It gets clear, my decision making gets clear, my life gets clear, friendships get clear, everything gets clear. Moment by moment. Now the reason I'm sharing this about Vipassana meditation with you is because I cannot recommend it enough as a tool in your toolbox that is, I would like to say, not essential, but I mean highly, highly recommended to have this skill set when you're working with psychedelics, because what they allow you to do is they allow you to catch these thoughts as they come into your mind as you're going deep into a trip, and it allows you to catch those thoughts and realize that that's just your ego, that's just your mind, your egoic mind. That's not you. So you catch the thought and you let it slide. And you don't allow that thought to take control over you, which is so essential in a trip. Because what psychedelics do is they take you inwards into your mind, essentially. They take you into the depths of your mind, all the recesses that have never been uncovered, and they start to reveal things to you. But if you're have anxiety or a strong attachment to life, a strong attachment to materialism, a strong attachment to identity, to your ego, to yourself, then psychedelics are going to be very difficult to go to the depths of what they can offer and reveal to you. If you meditate before you do psychedelics, though, you go in with this clean slate. And in this clean slate, maybe the medicine, if you want to call it that, it'll start messing with you in a way where it takes certain things that you attached onto in your life, like in the beginning of a mushroom trip when you start going higher doses. As your eyes are closed, it'll start feeling like your skin and your face is like twisting and contorting and almost tearing apart. And you might go into a panic mode because you have an attachment to this. But what you realize if you meditate, you're like, oh, isn't that an interesting sensation? And you learn to just observe sensations without attachment. And you just say, isn't that interesting? That tearing, pulling, ripping sensation. And you know it's not real, it's just in your mind. And all it is your mind is challenging you to see if you can let go of your control and your attachments. And so, right after I did the 10-day Vipassana retreat, I did ayahuasca. And in my very first sitting ever, I had a peak experience because I had that meditation tool. So I had a really clean diet for 5 days beforehand, peeled cucumbers, white cauliflower, white potatoes, no salt, no sugar, no fat, no animal products, clean, clean, clean. And when I took that ayahuasca, I blessed it with so much love. And after the second dose, it made me face my ego, my attachment to this life. And when I accepted my own death, it killed my mind, my identity, my ego. And then what it did is it took me into another dimension where Mother Nature took over. And in this dimension of Mother Nature, call it a fourth dimension, I don't know what it is, but it felt like a fourth dimension, if you would say. But it's in your mind. And Mother Nature taught me all of her little secrets, her wisdom. Took me into the earth, took me into my mother's womb, my mother in her mother's womb, took me into there, showed me where I came from. It opened my heart, vibrations just poured out of me, and it taught me all about vibrations. And it taught me that everything is perfect exactly as it is. And you just need to learn to love it all. Because it's perfect exactly as it is. Acceptance is key in life. Let go of your attachments to outcome. Let go of control. Accept whatever is. Even if it's bad, hard to handle sometimes. But you need to learn to accept these things. And so there were extremely valuable lessons in this. But as similar as magic mushrooms were for me to ayahuasca, ayahuasca was Mother Nature. Whereas magic mushrooms still had this untapped potential for me that I hadn't explored. And it felt like it was on the universal realm. And I still didn't know what was at the core of it. But what I had done differently before I went into my next ceremony is I had watched a video by Terrence McKenna on how he takes magic mushrooms. And he goes on an empty stomach. He eats the mushrooms, savors it. He has sensory deprivation rooms, so a blindfold over the eyes, pitch black darkness, no technology, no interruptions, by himself, and he just goes inwards, closes his eyes and goes inwards. And I was like, that makes sense. And so the next time I worked with magic mushrooms, that's exactly what I did. I had a clean diet the day before, same way I prepared for ayahuasca, very clean diet, get your body cleansed out. Woke up in the morning, had a little lemon water, did about 15 minutes of stretches, get the body Get the voice opened up. Get everything relaxed. Roll down, open up. You want to breathe into your spine, roll all the way down, roll all the way back up. Get every joint in your body, get everything opened up. Just breathe into everywhere. You want to get your whole body limber, dynamic stretches, lunges, get everything moving, get everything flowing, everything open. And then I would sit there on my couch and I would meditate for an hour and a half. I still do it that way today. An hour and a half. This Vipassana style meditation where I observe sensations without judgment. And I get my mind to the point where it gets quiet. And then I'm in the moment. When I'm in that stage, then I eat the mushrooms. Or sometimes I make it into a tea. And if I make it into a tea, the way I do it is a very low simmer boil and put the mushrooms in with ginger, however much you want. And the ginger helps ease the upset stomach, the nausea of the mushrooms. It'll, like, around 30 minutes to 45 minutes, you'll feel like a little nausea. But if you have a clean diet the day before and your body's healthy, it's not really anything anyways. It's really not a big deal. It's only nausea if you got a bunch of junk in your body. Then your body, the mushrooms kind of fight with what's going on in your digestive system. If you have a clean body, it's not a problem. But I put a little ginger in, and then at the last 5 minutes, you do that for 15 minutes, a low simmer. Last 5 minutes, turn off the heat, and I just squeeze in half a lemon. And the lemon, so I understand, converts the psilocybin into psilocin, which is the tripping part of the drug. And so what that does, if you want, is it makes the trip go in deeper, faster, but then come out faster as well. So if you only have a certain amount of mushrooms and you want to go deeper, lemon is something that'll help you go deeper with a smaller amount of mushrooms, but it won't last as long and you'll come back out faster. If you just eat the mushrooms, make sure that when you eat the mushrooms, you're eating the mushrooms from a place of love. A lot of people don't like the flavor of the mushrooms, and just change your mind about that. Be aware of where you're going. You're going into the depths of your mind, and these mushrooms take you there. And so when you eat the mushrooms, make sure that you bless them with so much love. Really bless them with love. Take them in and just... I love you. Thank you for this journey. I welcome you into my body. I'm going to let go of control and reveal to me what you want to reveal to me. Surrender to the mushrooms. Take them in, and when you chew them, savor it. Savor that flavor. Take it in. Enjoy it. Hey. Get your saliva washing around. You want your saliva to mix with the mushrooms. Helps you absorb it. Really take your time chewing it. Really enjoy it. Don't just swallow it. And then you swallow it. And then what I do is I go into my bedroom and I wear a lot of warm clothes, because for some reasons when I do mushrooms I get cold. So I wear a lot of layers of warm clothes, and no technology on, have the doors locked, no visitors are coming over. I put earplugs in my ears if there's any outside noise. Like, you can hear a garbage truck outside my building right now, so just to block anything like that out. And so you want earplugs. I have an eye mask, and then I put a toque over the eye mask so no light gets in. And I just sit there in my bed and I meditate, Vipassana style again. Keep the mind quiet. And it takes about 45 minutes for the mushrooms to kick in. And so the next 2 times I did mushrooms after the Aya was around the 3.5 gram range. And this is a range where you're going to have to face your fears. It's really going to challenge you. But there's something really cool I'm going to share with you about how mushrooms work. And so here's the whole trick with it all. As the 45 minutes comes in, all of a sudden, all your sensory, your sound starts warping, eyes are closed, the visions start appearing to you, it'll reveal sacred geometry to you. It can go in any different way, all the colors, all the patterns, and everything's going to start warping, and then it's going to start warping your skin and your attachment to this body. And then what it's going to do it's going to make you face your greatest fears in life. And you won't even know what these are. And you might want to panic, which is why the meditation part is so important. If you're able to catch the thoughts of your attachment to this body or this life, you see yourself fighting against it, catch that thought and let it go and say, hey, whatever happens, happens. Release your attachments. And the first time after that, it took my body and it contorted it in a way where it locked up every muscle in my body, and it made me feel like I had cerebral palsy. And it wasn't a joke, it was very real. It was challenging me mentally and physically. And I was going to be in that position forever. And I accepted it. I just observed it. I observed what it was teaching me the whole time. And if I was locked like that forever, I'm like, what a lesson. But until I was able to accept it and let it go and be like, it's okay if that's my reality. It's okay. It is. It's okay. That's fine. And then it's like, he's okay with that. Time to move on to the next fear. And then it made me autistic. I have a cousin who's fully autistic, and I didn't realize that was a fear of mine, autism. And it gave me all the symptoms, all the brain wiring of full autism. And I went through that experience as though I was never coming out of it. And when I accepted that experience as truth is my reality now, and that it's not a negative thing, it just is what it is. And when I accepted it, it released its grip on me. And it said, you face that fear. And it didn't challenge me again in that way physically. It said, you've dealt with that. And of course it reveals a bunch of other things. It connects a lot of parts of your brain, like I said, and it's going to bring things into the forefront of your consciousness. And you're probably going to cry a lot. I cried a lot. And when you're done crying, though, there's this lightness and this clarity about life, this way you see the world. And it's so beautiful. And for a few days, you're just so connected. You understand so deeply. You know, it's just one of the most beautiful experiences ever, coming out of a trip. But then the next time you're going in to work with mushrooms, you know, I would wait a year before I would go again. And there's that little bit of fear in my mind of, we're going back here again, because I know it's going to be challenging me. And so there's that part of my brain that goes, oh, please don't kill me. You know, it's crazy. But I jumped in without that fear. You know, you just accept it again. You do your meditation, your mind quiets down, you take the mushrooms, go back into that same routine again, sit in the bed, meditate, wait for it to take me over. When it takes over, I lie down in the bed, and then I go on the journey. And the next time I go on the journey, guess what? It contorts my face, challenges me, my attachment to my body again, and I'm like just observing, I'm like, you know, it really feels like it's pulling you apart. You accept that. It releases its grip on you. And then what it did is it said, you've already dealt with those other fears. You don't have to go there again. And what I realized is mushrooms is like an onion. Is you start on the outer layers of your fears, your attachments. And as you deal with them and accept them and let go of control of them, as you peel those off, and then you get to go down a little deeper. And in those next layers of your mind, it challenges you in different ways. And if you're able to let go of control and accept whatever it shows you and reveals to you, then you can peel that layer off. And you go a little deeper. And there's this little stage in the middle of that onion where the mushrooms are like ayahuasca. Vibrations, just without you doing a thing, vibrations will pour out of you. And the mushrooms and the ayahuasca, they teach you all about vibrations and all the different frequencies, and something happens. your throat and your lungs and everything, it opens up wider than you've ever experienced in your life. It doesn't even seem possible. And you breathe so deep, and your heart slows down, and time stops. The dimension of time stops. Space can start to not exist. And you're just in this other realm of your mind, in the depths of your mind. And these vibrations pour out of you in the most crystalline, pure. I mean, you've never heard anything like it. I'm not a good singer, but the sounds that came out of me on Vipassana and on mushrooms are unlike anything you've ever experienced in your life, and it is pure joy. And it goes with mushrooms. It's like, it's all vibrations. It's all vibrations. It's all vibrations. But my mouth and throat are so open that it does this in like my jaw is like the vibrations are so, like the frequencies are so high pitched and they go so low, and it's literally like you're in a little playground of the gods. Like you literally feel like you're in a playground of the gods messing with vibrations. And you realize that everything is vibrations. Every thought is a vibration. Everything is connected. You realize, oh, everything is vibrations. And it becomes so obvious. Everything is vibrations. So you come out of this, and everywhere you go, it takes a while to process, but everywhere you go, it's all vibrations. And it's such a simple thing, but it's so profound when it clicks for you, when it really truly clicks, and it's not just a thought, it's not just an idea, it's not just a theory, it's a truth. It's all vibrations. And then you start seeing everything in a completely different light. And so, from this point, just this last year, I was ready for my first ever hero dose, my first 5-gram dose. And so I ordered some mushrooms online. They're called Blue Meanies. And although mushrooms are illegal in Canada, this website, when you purchase them online, they change the name of the thing that sends it to you, so there's a way to get them to you without getting caught, I guess. Here I am revealing it to you. Well, accept it. And so what I did, I knew I was going to go deep. I knew, because I had seen some things in these 3.5-gram mushroom trips that were, I had questions. I'm like, there's so much more. I'm like, what is this? What is this? What is this really? Because I hadn't gotten to the core of the onion. I still had a few layers there to shed. And so what I did is I filmed the whole process. And I filmed my morning routine because I wanted to create a guide for everybody. And I filmed myself weighing the mushrooms, filmed myself eating the mushrooms, set up a camera in the bedroom, plugged it into an extension cord so it would have unlimited battery. And I filmed myself doing a mushroom trip. And when I came out at the end, I go to check the footage. 45 minutes into the recording, right when the trip was starting to kick in, just when it's starting to kick in and take off, all of a sudden the recording just magically stopped. Now I have no idea what the heck that's about, why it happened, makes no sense, but that's what happened. And so I'll tell you what happened in the trip and how you yourself can learn these things to be truths for yourself. And just remember though that just because it's a truth in this moment and it's been revealed to you doesn't mean it's the ultimate truth. It's just a truth as much as we as humans can grasp and understand and know with our limited bodies and limited sensory perceptors. And let me explain to you what happened on this hero dose trip. It was insane. Took the 5 grams, same routine as always. Went in the bed, sat there, and I had told my roommate I was doing this, so I asked him to leave. And he left maybe 15 minutes into after I haven't taken the mushrooms, and he left the house. And as the mushrooms start kicking in, goes through the regular thing, sound starts warping, starts distorting my skin and body and all my senses. The sacred geometry takes me through a bunch of things. Time stops. Space starts stopping, takes you into another little dimension of space. And then it takes my roommate, and what it does is it just says, he's not real. And I'm like, but my ego jumps in and it's like, oh, that's funny. Ha ha ha, he's not real. Yeah. And I'm like, that's funny. That's a nice idea. Nice little trick mind you're playing on me. And then it's like, no, he's not real. And I'm like, what's going on? And it slowly starts to dissolve the entire idea of my roommate. Until it's not a joke anymore. Until he doesn't exist in my mind anymore. And I'm like, oh my gosh, he's not real. He's only in my mind. And then it starts to take the room around me. And it starts to say, my eyes were shut the whole time, as they should be. And it starts to say, this room isn't real. And I'm like, I'm in the room. And it's like, no, it's not real. And what it starts to do is it starts to dissolve space around you in my mind. The room no longer exists. So much so that if I were to open my eyes, the room wouldn't be there. It's that powerful. And I'm like, your ego will jump in and be like, yeah, but you're physically in the room. And I'm like, but then it'll take your mind and it'll wipe it out of your mind. And then it took someone from my life and it revealed to me someone who I had envied. And it took him and showed him to me and said, this is you. Everything about that person is you. It's a direct reflection of you, your mind. And I was like, in my mind, I created that person. Every little thing about them, all the attachments, all the everything, all the stories, it's all in my mind. None of it's real. It's just a story. And then it dissolved that person, poof. When I finally grasped it and it became real, that they weren't real, that they were just me, and that everybody is just a reflection of your own mind, it's a lesson for you to learn about yourself, it disappeared. And then it took each of my family members one by one, and it goes, they're not real. Whew. 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 And it wasn't a panic, it just emptied. And then it took the earth, whew, didn't exist anymore. And then it took the whole universe, and it just went, whew, dissolved. It didn't exist anymore. And I'm just in this empty nothingness. It's not even space, it's nothingness. I'm in the nothingness of my mind. But the whole time, I have my breath, which is very slow. Like one breath every couple minutes. Like it is slow. Time doesn't exist. Space doesn't exist. Breath. Conscious awareness. You have consciousness the whole time. And then I say, these mushrooms, they give you the power, because it's in your own mind, it gives you the power to ask questions. And I said, what's behind this veil? What's behind this door? And it starts putting on a little show for me, trying to distract me, trying to pull me away. And I'm like, no, I'm serious. I'm like, what's behind the door? And it goes, are you sure? Are you sure you want to know what's behind the door? Show me. And so it takes away all that fancy illusion. Gone. Turns me to nothingness. And then it hits me. I'm going to be in this nothingness for eternity. And it was hollow, and it was empty, and it was lonely. And my consciousness, or my ego that was still, that little part still there, it goes, is this forever? Is this eternity? Is this what's on the other side of life when you die? Are you just in nothingness forever, but you're just consciousness? And I go, what's behind that door? And it goes and it takes it all the nothingness, all the nothingness. And it takes me into an infinitely smallest point you could possibly imagine in the center of my mind. And it was nothing, and it was everything. And it goes, God. And I realized we are all God. When you take away all the fluff, all the illusion, all that's left at the core of everything is nothing and everything, and it's a point that doesn't even exist, and that point is God. And through the Word of God, everything is created. It's nothing until it's a thought. And the second it's a thought, it's a vibration. The second it's a vibration, it's creation. It becomes real through the Word of God. And it is so unbelievable and so simple that if you go to the depths of your mind and you shut it all off and you peel away all the layers of illusion, peel it all away, at the very core of it all is God. Not a person, not an idea, not a thing, nothing and everything, in one infinitely nothing point. And that's the source of everything, God. And everything is only something through thought, through the Word of God, which is thought, which is vibration, which creates. Everything was created through the Word of God. And all of a sudden, it just gave me the choice to not breathe in again. And it wasn't a problem. Your breath slows down, like time doesn't exist, space doesn't exist, nothing exists anymore. And you're in this realm of nothingness where it's okay not to breathe in again. It's not a problem. You just have to not breathe in. It's not painful, it's not scary, it's not anything. And I'm just sitting there in this space of not breathing. And it just goes on and on and on and on. I mean, there's no time. It's hard to tell how long. It feels like forever. And I made the choice in that moment. was like, I'm not done with this journey yet. I'm going to do this journey, and one day when my time comes, I will go back there. I will revisit that point. And instead of hanging on, I'm going to have to let go of breath for the very last time. And what's on the other side of breath? I don't know, and nobody knows. Nobody knows. Because that's as deep as you can go. To God. But breath is still there. And consciousness is still there. Take away breath? I don't know. Does consciousness go away? Is it nothingness? Is it everythingness? Is it I don't know? No one knows. And then, I come out of this thing. And the next 2 days were so tough. My head felt like it was going to explode, like my brainstem just felt like it was going to explode, like it was too much information, too much knowledge. That's why they say ignorance is bliss. Be careful what you wish for. Because when you see these things, these truths, so to speak, you can never unknow it. And then everywhere you go, you now know that it's all just thought, it's all just vibration. Through thought is creation. So be aware of every thought you have. Because every thought is a vibration that creates and affects everything instantaneously. It is all in your own mind. Learn about your own mind. Observe it. Don't judge it. Just observe your mind. Become a master of your mind. And then when the time comes to let go one day on your deathbed, there's nothing to be afraid of. There's no attachments. You're able to just release your fears and go to the other side. Now, we don't know what's on the other side. But with how easy it was to just be able to let go of breath and not breathe in again, it's peaceful. Very, very peaceful. There's no fear. There's no human emotions, no factors like that. It's just a reuniting with what you've always been, everything and nothing. And that's as much as was revealed. And I was going to make that video and cut it all together after, but at the same time I was like, I don't know if I should share this information with people. I don't know if people are ready to handle, this truth, so to speak, like I say. And so I decided not to share it. Because I am a believer that ignorance is bliss. I mean, some of the happiest people are people that just live in these 5 senses of this body. And they go about their day, dealing with what's in front of them. And not really taking in everything and nothing and in the depths of your mind. But I'm like, if you are curious, if you really want to know God, if you want to know God is the best way to put it, to know God, you are God. If you really want to know and experience that, so it's not just an idea, not just a theory, it becomes truth. You can do it, but it takes a lot of work. And that was almost 12 years of preparation for me to meet God. You really don't want to mess around with these psychedelics because they are so powerful. Infinite knowledge. Infinite. The depths of your mind take you anywhere. So just be careful. That's all I would say to you, is just be careful about what you ask for, what you want to know, because it will be revealed to you. And you need to be able to handle the truth when it's revealed to you. Now, if you're not mentally stable in a good place in your life, that might be overwhelming for you. And it might destroy or disrupt your ability to live in this world. Because when you experience these things, you no longer have an attachment to this body, to this vessel, to this life. It's very easy to let go and be like, I'm fine with dying. It's okay. There's nothing to be afraid of. And when you get to that point, it's scary because you mean it. And I remember talking to a friend of mine, and she's like, something's different about you. And I started crying, and I'm like, I'm okay to go. And I started crying because it was true. And it was just like, wow. To know that this journey is temporary and that no matter what happens, I've accepted it. I've accepted death. It's a powerful thing, but it's a very scary thing to go through, to face. And so, proceed with extreme caution. But if you want to stay in that 3.5 gram range of mushrooms, you won't meet God there. But what you will meet is the realm of beautiful vibrations. Just pure beautiful vibrations and joy like you have never felt, in timelessness and spacelessness. And it'll take you into your mind and you face your fears, and it releases these attachments of fears. And so you can go through your day with this relaxed acceptance. It doesn't mean you're going to be perfect. We all get caught up in our mind. Our egos are very powerful at like fooling us and tricking us, and they pull us in. And we have all these, attachments from childhood onwards. And it's going to suck you in. But meditation on a day-to-day basis will keep you balanced in the now. And then these types of little psychedelic gifts will help you face your fears, let go of control, and go about your day with this acceptance. It's okay. It's okay. And that's such a beautiful thing to know, that it's okay. Whatever happens is okay. Just accept it. Release your attachments. Let go of control. It's okay. It's going to be okay. If you want to know more, I will be making more videos, most likely to help elaborate on these things, to help give people clarity, to help them on their journey. It's been a long journey of exploration, but the cleaner your body and the cleaner your mind going into these things, the easier it will be to peel off the layers of the onion and get down to the core layers. And I mean, say the onion's that big of the onion is pure joyful. It's just a few outer layers of fears that you gotta really deal with and peel off. And then it's a huge layer of joy. And something else very cool in your mind, when you get past all the fear stage, when you take the mushrooms, it goes, hey, you've already dealt with those fears. And it's like, you don't have to do that again. And you get to bypass all of the fear section, all of the darkness. It's not there anymore. You've dealt with it. You don't have to do it again. And so it welcomes you into this playground of your mind. And it's like, it's so obvious that it's home. And it goes, welcome home. And you're like, oh, what was I afraid of? This is home. And it's just like your best friends you could ever imagine. It's home. And it says, hey, what do you want to do? What do you want to know? Where do you want to go? And it's this realm of your mind of infinite potential where you're in the realm of gods. I mean, it's like, it's unbelievable. Space disappears, time disappears, and you're just in this realm of like infinite potential. 3.5 grams is a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful playground to play in. Now, I only did the 5 grams once, and I don't know if I'll do it again, because I'm like, there's deeper. And the truth is I know that if I did a 5 grams again, I could go right back to that source, God. And I could make that choice not to take my last breath. And it would be all too easy. And so I'm like, you know, you hear about Buddhist monks that can meditate themselves to death. They're able to shut off their mind. And they get into that same state through meditation, where you don't need to breathe in. It's okay. It's not painful. There's no fear. There's no attachments. And that's how the monks do it. They meditate so deeply into their mind that everything dissolves away. You get to nothing and everything, and it's okay not to breathe in, and you just choose to not breathe in. And it shuts off the whole system, this whole identity, everything shuts off, everything you've ever known shuts off. What's on the other side, we don't know. But that's the power of the mind. And I think it's worth exploring. Just be careful what you wish for. I hope this helps you guys. I really, really hope this helps anyone who's on this journey, because it's such a confusing realm to go diving into. There's not a lot of people sharing good advice and good insights and, you know, a really surefire way to navigate your brain. And I've been very, very fortunate in my life to have had just great guidance, great teachers, and had the courage to really face my own darkness, that I've been able to have these experiences. And it's something I did want to share with everyone. It's just the timing had to be right. And so if you have any questions, put it in the comments below, and I will read them, and I will respond to them. And if there's good enough questions and clarity that needs to be made, I'll make another video for you guys in helping you along the journey. Really, reach out. I really mean that. Yeah, I'm not sure if I said as well, music isn't necessary for these journeys. Pure silence. Pure silence is beautiful. It's all in your mind. You don't need anything to guide you. Breathing. Quiet your mind. Go in. Let go of control. Let whatever happens, happens. Face your fears. Accept it all. And on the other side is liberation. So, yeah. Happy tripping, you guys. Also, FYI, magic mushrooms, they have a shelf life. So, over like a year, if they're exposed to oxygen or something, after like a year, they lose their potency. So 3.5 grams of a year-old mushrooms, you know, I've done a trip like that, and it felt a lot like a 1.5 gram mushroom trip. So just be aware that the potency of mushrooms will deteriorate over time. So it's best to buy them fresh. I have a vacuum sealed bag of them that I just leave vacuum sealed for the occasion whenever I'm ready for the next journey. But yeah, it won't be a 5 gram journey the next one, I don't think. Like, I might play around in that 3.5 gram range a bit more and just go have some fun and ask some questions and just kind of see what's up. Yeah, because it's a joyful, beautiful playground, and it gets you reconnected. So, happy tripping. I hope this helped you guys a lot. And yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing your comments and hearing about your experiences and journeys and what you have to share, because that's how we learn, sharing with one another and navigating this new frontier that's not so new. Mushrooms are billions of years old, so I mean, this is some powerful wisdom they're sharing with us. And yeah, mushrooms are definitely more potent than ayahuasca. Ayahuasca has the ego death portion of it, where you have to accept your own death to go to the other side. Mushrooms doesn't have that. There is no ego death section of it. It's an easier transition once you face your fears. So it is different than ayahuasca, but it's a similar transition experience, so to speak. The vibrational aspect, the sacred geometry aspect, certain spaceless and time warping aspects, similar. But ayahuasca is the realm of Mother Nature. Mushrooms are the realm of God. You're in God's playground with mushrooms. And your mind is your access point to God. Just don't forget that. Thoughts are vibrations. Vibrations create and affect everything instantaneously. What you think becomes reality. So just be aware of your thoughts. Namaste. Thank you very much, guys. Have a blessed day.